what's up, guys? It's KDX K Dot with Wave eSports. We are with
SMP,
and where are we at right now?
TOTFC, top of the food chain, Chesapeake, Virginia.
So, I'm going to say this out the gate. I have the highest respects for SMP. Scary mashed potatoes. He's been around for a really long time, and there was a time earlier in Street Fighter 4's life where attendance was dwindling. I don't want to say it was dead. I'm not getting in all that, but pretty much there was a time where there was a lull, and SMP stepped up, used his own money, did like a little Rambat series, if I'm not mistaken, and had numbers. I don't want to say fake ones, but I know a good amount of people were coming out to the weeklies and had a series, and people came out and had a Rambat. What's your thoughts on that, and why'd you do it? Why'd you step up, and pretty much why'd you take it on for the community?
At the time, community itself was just kind of dormant. Not a lot was going on, not a lot of new games were out. Marvel was pretty hyped then, but I figured more people needed to come out for a reason. I figured it was a good opportunity for me to get back into Street Fighter as well, because it was right on the cusp of Ultra Street Fighter 4. Sometimes you need to step it up in order to bring the people out. So I started offering bounties on the better players, started offering free entry tournaments with rewards on the end. We had the tournaments at a local bar, so I was offering food prizes, drink prizes, things like that, and people were coming for it. People started practicing, people started getting pretty hyped for it, so if you build it, they will come.
You've also known to be a connoisseur of fighting games. You are at least above average in just about any game you've ever played, and whatever game you take seriously at the moment, you usually do pretty well. This is a complicated question. How would you suggest getting good at multiple games? And then why do you bounce from game to game to game to game? And even though you do relatively well, like how come you don't commit? And I don't mean that in a bad or good way, just why do you play so many games?
I think being around for so long, I don't want to say you get bored with a certain game, but you take your skill level and transfer it into multiple games. If we want to go back to where that all began, I think if a player wants to be able to be good at multiple games, they need to be godlike at one game first before they decide to pick up a million games. I started with Tekken. It was my bread and butter for the longest time. I got really good. I was winning majors. I was winning all the weeklies, regionals, stuff like that for a long time. I took what I learned in general from that series, and it just translated over to anything else I picked up. I encourage people, if they want to get good at multiple games, to stay with one game and do their best to learn and be godlike. Fundamentals. It'll all translate over to any other game you pick up from there.
What would be your advice from someone who wants to come from a 3D fighter to a Capcom or to Smash or to transfer communities outside of just learning the game and actually like getting good at it, the community itself, the people itself, how would you integrate into something that's foreign to you?
I think if you want to, for like maybe a Tekken player to come to Street Fighter and stuff like that without any issues, is you got to humble yourself before you go anywhere. You have to come in from ground zero, build yourself up from there. You don't know exactly what's going on in this community or that community, whatever. When you first started, you had no idea what was going on in whatever main game you're playing. So it's almost like starting over, but not quite. People may know you from doing well for whatever game you play. It's almost like moving to a brand new area. Go out, meet people, make friends, talk about the game, but don't sit down and expect everybody to be on a certain level with you just because you're godlike at whatever it is. Like, you have to build yourself into a new community. You just can't come in and expect yourself to be stamped right in the middle of it.
To add on to your point, and I think this is one reason I'm really intrigued by the fighting game community, and oddly enough, it's still a lot of reasons why people, I think, are turned off by it. But what I'm getting at is you have to earn your lumps, right? You have to win the tournament or at least do well or take a set off someone, relatively good. Like, you have to pretty much earn the respect of the people. And like I get it, when you come to the community, if they're not necessarily warming or welcoming, you might just be like, oh, why is it worth my time? Because if it's something you're interested in and something you're passionate about, then if you get good, I promise you people will be reciprocal. They will gravitate towards you, and then you'll get and especially at a high level, right? For fighting games, to play at a high level, you just have to, honestly, you have to be smart. And I feel like there's certain games that facilitate a certain type of play style, but to capitalize on that, everyone has access to the same toolkit that you do. To be there and to play at that level, you have to be intelligent. And to play it at an intelligent level, you actually befriend some of the best people I've ever met. My friend here, SMP, being one of them. But But no, for real, I feel like as fighting game players are really like some of the smartest people.
I'll have to agree with you on that. But again, like, earning the respect through wins, it's not even necessarily about winning tournaments to get that respect. It's just about consistently communicating with the community, like consistently putting yourself out there for other people to get to know and practice with and learn with and stuff like that. Like, don't come into a community and just go to the top player and be like, teach me so I can be like you. Like, get to know the players on the way up there. Get to know the whole community. Because when you start alienating other people out, especially on the lower side of the totem pole when it comes to tiers in your community or whatever, that's where things don't sort of mesh. Like, you got to respect all these people and pay your dues when you're coming into a new community.
All right, so what people don't know is that you go to college, you have a full-time job, you still help put on these tournaments, you still play multiple games and try to be proficient at it. You travel a decent amount, right? You have dogs. My point in bringing this up is he has a lot of items to juggle in his life. And I'm kind of curious on your thoughts is how do you do it and what's your advice for people who, because the biggest thing I always hear is I don't have time for this or whatever. And you don't have time for this and you still do it. So, what's your secret?
It's not really a secret. I think motivation is the only thing that people need in order to be able to do multiple things in life along with something like gaming, as far as practicing, going to tournaments, etc. like that. You can make the time if you want to. I think anybody can do anything in this world they want to do if they really want to do it. When someone says they don't have the time, they can't get the time off, they got a busy schedule and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure you can work out a schedule that maybe barring military or something like that you can practice around. Like, there might be something you do in the morning for an hour that you might be able to take out of your day if you want to practice a little bit more at whatever game you play. Or maybe like when you get off work and you just want to sit on the couch and drink beer for the rest of the night, think about maybe practicing a little bit. I work full time, I go to school, I arrange my schedule to have 2 certain days off on the week. One Sunday that I can just clear my head and do nothing, or if I want to go gaming, then I'll fill it in. But Thursdays, so I can meet with my local community and practice and do things from there. Not everybody's life situations are the same. Maybe people don't know exactly how to juggle it all. Maybe they need a little bit of guidance. But I do think it is possible for anybody to juggle school and jobs and gaming if they're really passionate about it and it's something they really want to do. And it's not even necessarily gaming. Like, perfect example, I have this friend. He's a rower. Works at 7:30 every morning, but wakes up at 4:30 to go row on the river and practice because he has tournaments every Saturday or races every Saturday. That's insane. Waking up at 4:30, gets the boat, puts it on top of the truck, goes out to the river, puts the boat on the river, rows for about an hour, comes back, takes the boat off, gets a shower, and goes to work. Has to be at work at 7:30. That's dedication. And then on the lunch break, what does he do? He goes to the gym, does cardio for an hour, and then goes back to work. And then when he gets home from work, he can relax and do whatever. So I think it's possible for anybody to do whatever they want to do if they want to dedicate the time to it.
If y'all don't know, you're gay, right?
Right.
Out, period, dot. So earlier on, I guess in life in general, but more specifically FGC, is there anything that you'd had to put up with that people don't really see on the surface? Like, this being gay, do you get looked at differently or do you get treated differently, especially in early venues? Because you've been here for what, since 06, I want to say? 05? 05, so you've been playing for a really long time. Did this affect you in any way, and have you seen any progression?
As far as affecting me, like when I first started entering the FGC and stuff like that, I wasn't really out there. I didn't know how a room full of dudes would take the whole situation. So it's not something I broadcasted or talked about, and it's still not anything that I do broadcast or talk about unless it's brought to my attention. Yes, I'm out. I am gay, but I don't shove it down people's throat. I don't go around telling people.
I don't know if that was the best phrase to use.
I think it's a perfect phrase to use. It's not something I broadcast. It's not something I need to talk about. If people ask me, sure, I'll tell them. I'm sure probably most of you watching this probably don't even know that. I own it. I accept it. It's how I was born. I never had any major issues except for one experience. The very first major tournament I ever won was Tekken 5. It was a tournament called V-Time 3. And in grand finals, I was bodying this player that shall remain nameless. Right towards the end, I think it was 2-0 in grand finals, or 3-0. This is back in the day we used to go 4 out of 7. Right at the end of the last game, before we started, he called me effing faggot. I had never been so angry in my life that I literally dropped my controller and balled up my fists and almost made a very bad decision. But I had a good group of friends with me there that calmed me down, told me to be the bigger person, and the best thing I could do is win the tournament and take his money, which is what I did. And that is the only time I've ever had an incident about my sexuality in the FGC. The FGC is really cool.
So they actually be pretty accepting of it, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. I have made a ton of friends, and they all know, and we joke about it all the time. But, there are a phrase or two that I prefer people not to use against me. Obviously, that situation is one of them. But other than that, all is well. Look at Ricky Ortiz. People love him to death. He's a great player. Princess Slim, he was doing great things in Zerd recently. There's a ton of, family out there, and FGC's been pretty accepting. So, there's terminology and stuff out there you're going to hear on the natural. It's not offensive unless you're actually calling one of us it. So I don't really hold it against anyone.
Yeah, we kind of alluded to it earlier, but pretty much the FGC does, really esports in general, but specifically the FGC doesn't care unless you're good at their game. You can't make a splash. You could be anything. You could be gay, girl, fat, whatever. They could care less. It's about the game. That's what's always been so wild to me. It's always been about the game. And whoever's behind it is just the person pushing the buttons. All right, man, you got any shout outs?
I would like to give a shout out to my team, Perfect Input. We've kind of been on the low for a while because I've been doing the school thing, but still a lot of players out there that represent Perfect Input, and I just love all of you guys. Keep doing your thing. Shout outs to Sova, my hometown. Shout outs to all the Tekken players out there that are still playing Tekken. I'm still Tekken at heart, even though I play everything else. Love all you guys, and FGC in general, just play your game. If your game's dying, no, it's not. Just as long as you keep playing it, it's never gonna die. So rep your game, keep playing, go to tournaments, do well, and I think that's it.
So where can people find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at LoMaxima, LoMaxima. YouTube, SM Potatoes, SMPOTATOES. It's my YouTube channel. Also, Perfect Input has a YouTube channel as well for our team videos and stuff like that. So.
All right, man. That's all we have, man. I really appreciate you coming out. It was a pleasure. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.
I enjoy being a gamer in the FGC. I love everybody. I am single. Any lucky guys out there, just let me know. But
You still promoting right now?
I mean, why not? If I'm outing myself, why not? Hey, I'm just saying.
Your digits will be in the description below.
You can reach me at Twitter at LoMaxima. Hit me up on Facebook. No, just kidding.